At exactly 3:42 p.m., the cocaine from evidence room B disappears without a sound. 17-year-old Alyssa Drake slips the sealed evidence bag into her designer backpack with the same casual confidence she uses to grab lip gloss from a store shelf. She adjusts her expensive jacket, checks her reflection in the metal cabinet, and walks out as if she belongs there. Alyssa doesn't realize, or doesn't care, that the security camera positioned above the exit records every second. The footage captures her face clearly, her movements precise, her theft unmistakable. The camera sees what she believes no one ever will: the daughter of a respected police detective casually committing a felony in her father's workplace. Her father, Detective Jonathan Drake, built his 30-year law enforcement career on integrity, careful procedure, and respect for evidence. Ironically, while he spends his day protecting crime scenes, his daughter destroys one for profit. The cocaine she steals isn't ordinary contraband. It belongs to Operation Eastpoint, a major undercover operation targeting high school-level drug distributors. The evidence bag contains highly pure cocaine seized after a 3-month sting. Embedded inside the plastic is trace DNA linking the product directly to 3 dangerous drug dealers. Alyssa knows none of that. She only knows that her private school parties need the good stuff. Just one bag, she whispers smugly to herself. Who's gonna notice? A catastrophic miscalculation. Evidence tracking software logs every movement, every timestamp, every item. Nothing goes unaccounted for, not even a single gram. And Lieutenant Dana Harlow, the officer assigned to evidence audits, never overlooks discrepancies. Meanwhile, Alyssa heads back to her elite institution, Waverly Academy, a $40,000 a year sanctuary for privileged teenagers, senators' children, tech heirs, old money legacies. In this world, money flows endlessly, consequences rarely exist, and accountability feels like a myth whispered by commoners. By 5 p.m., Alyssa has already sold most of the stolen cocaine to her classmates, $500 a gram. Easy money, no fear, no caution. She boasts loudly, "This stuff is crazy pure. My dad only deals with the high-level evidence." Her friends laugh, clueless. Her arrogance grows. Back at the station, Lieutenant Harlow performs a routine audit until the screen flashes red. Evidence item missing. She checks the logs, then checks the room. Her eyes narrow. This isn't a software glitch. Something is wrong. She immediately pulls the camera footage. What she sees changes everything. Alyssa Drake, perfectly visible, entering with her father's access card in hand, removing the evidence bag, leaving calmly. Not a mistake, not an accident, a deliberate theft. Lieutenant Harlow wastes no time. She walks straight to Detective Jonathan Drake's office. "Jonathan, we need to talk." The tone alone tells him everything is wrong. She plays the footage. Jonathan watches silently, first disbelief, then horror, then heartbreak. That's my access card," he finally says, his voice cracking slightly. "She must have taken it from my wallet." "Jonathan, your daughter stole evidence from an active federal investigation." His entire career, the reputation he spent decades building, shifts beneath his feet. A chasm opens. He realizes instantly, if he hides this, he becomes a criminal too. "Dana, I'll handle this." "You can't handle this alone," she replies firmly. "This is beyond departmental discipline. It's a federal offense." 6:15 p.m. Alyssa arrives home. Her father is waiting in the living room, hands clasped, shoulders heavy. "Alyssa, sit down." She stops mid-step. "Dad, what's wrong?" "You stole cocaine from my evidence room." She freezes, then smirks slightly. "What?" "No, I didn't. Security cameras show you taking the evidence. Your face is clear." "Maybe someone edited it," she lies, looking away. "It's high-definition footage." "Okay, but I didn't know it was evidence. I was just curious." Jonathan closes his eyes, realizing she's incapable of truth. "This isn't curiosity, it's a felony." Alyssa's panic rises. "Dad, please just let me put it back." "You already sold it." Her face drains of color. Before she can argue again, Jonathan picks up his phone. Captain Reeves, my daughter committed evidence theft. The call is on speaker. Alyssa's heart drops. Jonathan, are you certain? The captain asks. There's video. She used my card. The evidence is gone and she sold it. The silence on the line is chilling. Jonathan, this is FBI jurisdiction now. Alyssa chokes out, Dad, please, don't let them take me. I'll fix it. You can't fix this. 2 hours later, FBI agent Miranda Keene, a 20-year veteran specializing in organized crime, sits across from Alyssa. Her presence alone makes the room feel smaller. Next to Alyssa is a lawyer her father could barely afford, yet still the best he could find. Agent Keene, the lawyer begins cautiously, my client is a minor with no criminal history. Your client stole federal evidence, Keene interrupts. And then she distributed narcotics inside a school. Video proves it. The lawyer swallows. We're willing to negotiate a plea deal. Alyssa squeezes her hands together, shaking. Agent Keene nods slowly. First, Miss Drake will provide a list of every buyer. Names flow. Wealthy families panic. Calls flood the station. Waverly Academy becomes a circus of lawyers and gossip. 3 weeks later, the case reaches court. Balance Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom, 2:00 p.m. Parents fill the benches in polished shoes and designer suits. Reporters hover outside. A case involving a detective's daughter, federal evidence, major drug busts, and privileged school networks draws attention like wildfire. Judge Frank Caprio enters, carrying 3 thick FBI files. Miss Alyssa Drake, he begins, you are charged with theft of federal evidence and distribution of controlled substances. Alyssa sits trembling in conservative clothing her lawyer selected. She looks more like a frightened child than the arrogant dealer in the footage. Your Honor, her lawyer says smoothly, Alyssa deeply regrets her moment of poor judgment. Caprio doesn't look up. Poor judgment, his voice echoes. Miss Drake, your actions allowed 3 drug dealers to escape prosecution. I didn't mean for that to happen, she whispers. Intent does not erase consequences. Detective Jonathan Drake requests permission to address the court. Detective Drake, Caprio says, you may speak. Jonathan stands slowly. Your Honor, I failed. As a father, as an officer, I trusted my daughter and she misused that trust. His voice cracks, but he continues. Alyssa's actions shame everything I've stood for, but I refuse to hide what she did. Caprio studies him. Rarely does a parent stand in court willing to admit such painful truth. He turns back to Alyssa. Your father's career, his life's work, has been damaged because of your choices. Tears spill down Alyssa's cheeks. I never wanted to hurt him, and yet you stole his credentials to commit a crime. Caprio leans forward. One of the freed dealers, Louis Carvera, sold drugs to children as young as 12. Your theft contributed directly to those children being put in danger. Alyssa covers her mouth, horrified. What you did, Caprio says firmly, was not teenage rebellion. It was criminal negligence of the highest order. The room goes silent. Caprio prepares sentencing. In adult court, you would face federal prison. You committed adult crimes. Alyssa goes white. But juvenile court provides rehabilitation, and you need it. Her lawyer straightens, anticipating leniency. Alyssa Drake, Caprio announces, you are sentenced to 18 months in juvenile detention, followed by 2 years probation and 500 hours of community service in law enforcement facilities. Gasps erupt. Alyssa breaks down. Your Honor, please, her lawyer protests. This is her first offense. This is not shoplifting, Caprio responds sharply. This is sabotaging federal operations. When do I start? Alyssa sobs. Immediately. Can I go home first? No, she's handcuffed. Her designer clothes contrast sharply with the cold steel restraints. As the bailiff leads her away, Caprio addresses the courtroom. Privilege without accountability breeds criminals. This court will not allow immunity just because a badge exists in the family. Balance 6 months later, juvenile detention Alyssa writes letters to her father. Dad, I understand now. You couldn't protect me. I needed this. Daily classes teach ethics, responsibility, and consequences. She learns how evidence is processed, how cases collapse when evidence is compromised, how victims suffer unseen. Her cellmate, Marisol, grew up in a poor neighborhood ravaged by drug violence. Their conversations slowly reshape Alyssa's worldview. "You lived where choices didn't cost anything," Marisol says. "I lived where one bad choice could kill you." For the first time, Alyssa sees her privilege clearly. After a year, she begins supervised work in the police evidence room. Ironic, intentional, and deeply humbling. "This bag," Supervisor Ramos tells her, holding a sealed narcotics pouch, "took 6 months of undercover work. Officers risked their lives for this." Alyssa nods, ashamed. "I never understood what I destroyed." Her transformation is real. Balance final evaluation with Judge Caprio. "Miss Drake," Caprio asks, "what has detention taught you?" Alyssa lifts her chin. "It saved my life, Your Honor. I was becoming a criminal without realizing it. Now I understand evidence is justice. It protects victims. It protects officers. I violated that trust." Caprio nods. "And what do you plan to do now?" "I want to study criminal justice. I want to fix the damage I caused." Her father sits proudly behind her, tears in his eyes. "I'm sorry, Dad," she whispers. "You're rebuilding everything you broke," he replies. "That's what matters." Caprio closes the file. "Your rehabilitation is genuine. Juvenile justice succeeded." Alyssa's record is eventually sealed. She begins college and volunteers at youth centers, telling teenagers, "I thought being a cop's kid made me untouchable. It made me reckless instead." Her message resonates. Balance, legacy, and transformation. Detective Drake regains his reputation. Captain Reeves promotes him to sergeant. "Your honesty during the investigation earned respect," Reeves tells him. Alyssa and her father now speak at police academies, warning officers about dangers of privilege, access, and entitlement. Her case inspires statewide reform. The Drake Accountability Act, enforcing stronger penalties for family misuse of police credentials. Alyssa testifies, "This law would have saved me from myself." FBI agent Keene later rearrests the freed dealers with additional evidence. Alyssa's cooperation helps secure convictions. Judge Caprio invites Alyssa annually to address juvenile defendants. "Consequences gave me a future," she tells them. "Your future can start today." 3 years later, Judge Frank Caprio attends Alyssa's college graduation. She walks across the stage in a cap and gown, the opposite of the shackles she once wore. Sergeant Drake frames her diploma. "You turned your worst mistake into something that helps others," he tells her. She smiles softly. "That's what justice really is." The courtroom doors had barely closed when Judge Caprio reached for the last envelope in the evidence pile, one no one claimed ownership of. No case number, no signature, just a black wax seal. He cracked it open. Inside was a single photograph. Caprio's eyes narrowed. It showed the defendant shaking hands with a man whose face was half hidden in shadow. But the background was unmistakable. The abandoned pier where 3 unsolved assault cases had originated. Cases Caprio always believed were connected but could never prove. He lifted the picture closer. And that's when he saw it, a second figure in the far corner, reflected in a broken window. A young woman, terrified, bound, still alive. A chill cut through Caprio's chest. Whoever sent this wanted him to reopen a case someone in the city desperately wanted buried. Before he could call his clerk, his courtroom phone lit up. Unknown number, he answered. A distorted voice whispered, "Judge, stop digging. The pier was only the beginning, and the next victim is someone already standing in your courtroom." The line went dead. Caprio slowly looked up, and suddenly the room didn't feel safe anymore. The real case was just beginning.